Hey. Just saying, this is self-proclaimed giant expert. Uh, Maybe there's someone who knows more about it than me. There is. There for sure is. Everything I learned was from the wiki, so if I got anything wrong, um, and you for some reason know it, tell me. Um, also, there's probably some spoilers in here with with Astoria lore for those of you in my giant campaign. So literally tread with caution. I'll maybe put up spoiler things at certain points so you can skip those bits in the video. If you're someone who's actually just stumbled across this video and is not part of that game, don't just ignore the spoilers. Just ignore them. So uh good have a good watch. Okay, new giants. Let's do it. Let's go in.
Hello, everyone. Today we're talking about giants. They're a big deal in D&D. That's the pun.
Good.
Don't worry, there'll be more. Giants have such specific lore in D&D, but we also have
Yes.
a kind of nice eclectic blend of them as well. And there's just such a nice fantasy trope of that. Something way bigger than yourself that is kind of like you, but not. Tell me about what's new for giants in D&D.
Please.
We revisited all of the classic giants
True
and
giants.
wanted to make sure that they truly, as we did with every creature in the book, hitting for their weight class. And that's especially important for these gigantic creatures that are meant to feel mighty. Our giants in 2014 had a particular issue in their design where many of them, the moment they used if they had a ranged attack, often they would actually fall off their challenge rating and in actuality be lower than the listed challenge rating. So one of the things
Yeah, it very much old edition giants, 5th edition, I mean 2014, typically had one shtick, and that was they are strong and they hit things. And some of them had spells, and I mean, I guess strong and hitting things is sort of the role that giants are meant to fill, but there's other things that do that. And I'm hoping they make them a little more dynamic, because it was hard when I made the giant races for Age of the Giants. Hard to give them abilities that were sort of based off of their stat blocks, that weren't just you're strong. So I hope that's sort of talked about if they get more unique moves.
things that we were very focused on with giants is making sure as we redesigned each of their stat blocks that whether they're hurling mighty boulders or pummeling you up close, they are going to truly feel mighty. We also wanted to integrate in more of the elemental feel into each of the giant types. I mean,
Good. That is something I did, or tried to do, at least with the lore. That's good. Good. Okay, Jeremy Crawford.
when you have fire in your name, frost, stone,
Yes.
storm, cloud,
Hill?
we wanted
No. Okay.
more of that to come through rather than it existing primarily in the story text. And so as people
Okay, call me out of there a
return
bit.
to these giants that have been in the
Once
game
again, good
since
art.
the first edition monster manual, you're going to see that there really is a lot of storminess in the storm giant. There are truly clouds in the cloud giant, frostiness in the frost giant, and so on. We really wanted their identities to come fully to life.
What is the appeal of giants? Like what?
That's I don't have much else to add. That is good. That's good. It's good. I mean, giants need, as I said earlier, something to make them feel a bit more significant. Because you can't be a high CR monster and only hit things and have no other, like, just, like, one ability. Like, I'm not saying give every giant spellcasting, give every giant a whole new feature. Just give every giant something that adds a bit of flavor. Like, even if it's just something like, fire giants doing extra fire damage on their swords. I don't think that's a thing they do in 5th edition. Or their rocks lighting you, giving you the burning condition or something because they're throwing magma at you. Yeah.
What's so exciting about that?
Well, I mean, one of the awesome things about D&D's Giants is that over 50 years of D&D, each one of them has really taken on a life of their own, an appearance of their own. Sure, these creatures are
Storm giants are
rooted
green.
in world mythology, but D&D's giants aren't like any other's giants. Like, for example, the cloud giants have always, going back to 1st edition, had like fangs. So like these are elements that, like, little neat things that we wanted to pick up that you're going to see in the art, but also an evolution of the way that they've been presented and things that make sense for these creatures that live in such specific environments, biomes, so on and so forth. Like, for example, one of the things that I absolutely love is the new art for the stone giant.
I was going to say that. Don't like the old 5th edition. It's kind of weird looking, but these I like.
I've always seen them as these tall, gray, humanoid figures, but not all stone is gray. So we really wanted to, like, take something that was fundamental to the stone giants and show some of the variations. So now when you have stone giants that are in their natural environment, you can see that they have the potential to blend in with that specific environment, which means that you might have, like, the stone giants that you see depicted in the monster manual with these, like, limestone striations running through them, just to show some of the things that you can do with these giants to make them feel more specific to an environment or your campaign.
Yeah, I've always loved D&D's giants are so different than what you would see in, like, a movie or different stories, is because they're so specific. Like the way that stone giants see the world, they see the outside.
So cool. Side thing. I think he's about to say it, but they see the world as a dream because everything up there is constant, ever shifting, and caves aren't. Except for, like, earthquakes, but I guess there's not really any earthquake big enough to truly rattle the world of a Steinjoden.
The world outside their cave is the dreaming. Elements like that make me so happy. Cloud giants tend to be a little bit more tricksy.
D&D's giants also,
and rich,
as
and noble.
When you go to the earliest days of the D&D multiverse, giants and dragons had a famous rivalry, and
yes, Thousand-Year War. Don't, if I have one request, don't have it be that Astoria ended after the 1,000-Year War, because it was diminished very significantly diminished by the 1,000-Year War, but it didn't end because originally Anam, to reclaim glory for the giants, he left the material plane for 1,000 years, and he did a whole lot of stuff. And one of the things that he got on his travels throughout the planes was rune magic. So having the 1,000-Year War end Astoria, the giant empire, and that's it for the giants, really. Anam leaves. Unless you supply a new reason for how they got rune crafting, doesn't make a lot of sense. They didn't always have it. They got it from mechanists.
Different elements, just as particularly the chromatic dragons do.
Right.
And so the D&D giants feel like distant mythological cousins to D&D's dragons. And indeed, they spent the early days of the multiverse warring with each other. And giants also represent, in many ways, a holdover of a lost civilization. This is something that we explore.
Please, Astoria name drop.
Bigby Presents Glory of the Giants.
Yeah, it's a fine book.
They were once the prominent peoples on many D&D worlds and have retreated to their various reclusive environments.
But why did they?
and perhaps they will rise again, or perhaps these titanic people will continue to be strangely inconspicuous. And I've always loved that dichotomy of D&D giants, of the tallest people are the ones you often are least likely to meet. And part of that is, after millennia of wars and their civilizations falling, they have almost retired to sort of tend to their...
Are they retconning Ulutiu and the Grand Glaciers?
Wounds, get their energy back. So I, as a dungeon master in particular, often view giants as those ones, like, keep an eye on them. They might be up in their cloud castle or in the ocean or deep in a volcano and seem to be keeping to themselves, but just be careful. Because as we explored in the adventure Storm King's Thunder, when they do rouse themselves, when they do suddenly reappear on the world stage, the earth literally shakes. And so they are creatures that, it's like, don't ignore them for too long. And they might show up as a great ally, but they could also show up as one of your most dreaded foes.
So, I don't know if they're going to talk about this, but spoiler warning. This is spoilers for those in the giant game. Skip to the time thing on screen right now to avoid spoilers, or to risk it. The Great Glacier is how Astoria ended, like officially. It was over the span of 75 years, sounds right. Sorry. But Astoria froze over in the North regions, and that is what created the, I think it's called the Great Glacier. I can double check myself in editing, but it's a thing in the Forgotten Realms. And it's also where Icewind Dale is. And I'm pretty sure that area was not, like, super cold before that happened. I'm not 100% certain on that. I'm not that well-versed in general Forgotten Realms lore. I've sort of just honed in on Jotuns and giants. But hoping they talk about that, maybe. It's kind of cool. It's cooler than just the war ended it.
Now, it's not just the typical giants that you find in the giants, like, the storm giant, stone giant, hill giant, but we also have other creatures like the Etten is part of this, the two-headed giant.
And they're cool.
We've got Cyclopes.
Yeah,
we've got more than one. Same thing with the ogre. We have more than one ogre in here, and
Oh, wow.
more than one troll.
Wow.
Can you tell me a little bit about these?
So we, as we have with some of the other groups in the book, we looked for opportunities for expanding the family. And so, as you mentioned, one of the little families we expanded was the Cyclopes family.
I've seen a video on these guys.
Already had in the 2014
I like.
Monster Manual.
I've seen a video on these guys. I love. I mean, I'm not usually a big fan of big lore changes. I like what they did with these guys. I like them giving them a new feature.
Kind of a bruiser Cyclops. In the story for the Cyclops, we talked that some of them have, the powers of soothsayers. They can see the future. They have divinatory magic. And we wanted to actually bring that more into the monster manual. And so we introduced a spellcasting Cyclops to be a companion to the more bruiser Cyclops.
Good.
And now that means with those two, a DM can sort of create this dynamic of, the Cyclops who, with their single eye is peering into the future, while another with their single eye is very singularly hunting you down, or perhaps standing beside you in battle against some greater foe.
Yeah, that's cool that they have spellcasting Cyclops. That also, I imagine, would elevate their place in the ordning, because typically giants with spellcasting are higher up in the ordning, because giants don't really like magic a lot. They don't interact with it. But those that are, like, talented with it and use it for martial things, or just, like, the aid of other giants, they are sometimes given the pass. and given more respect. Like storm giants, cloud giants, titans. They are all giants. I believe titans have spellcasting. I know storm giants and cloud giants do, but they're all like really high up in the ordering. Despite that, because they're given a free pass to use magic, because they're powerful. So I don't know. It's interesting to see if they sort of change where Cyclops rank in the ordering because of this, or if they stay the same because it is less battle focused and more information based, divining. But surely an oracle would gain some respect, I feel like, among giants.
It was also an opportunity.
They're very
for the
religious,
Cyclopses to help distinguish them from hill giants, which are very close in CR and are another example of just like, it's a big guy, they often have a club, they're coming after you. Giving the Cyclopses a little more of those oracular abilities, some really fun ways to like play even with the dice to make it feel like that they know what's coming, really helps give them their own place and make them feel like their own critters.
Yes.
Feels like a little bit of a Krull reference. Or is it older than that concept of Cyclops being able to see into the future?
It's older than that.
Yeah, okay. I figured it probably was.
I don't know what
Krull, basically, we and Krull were dipping into the same mythological cauldron.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
I don't know what that
would be
means.
Unique to Krull, though I love Krull.
It's saying the subtitles are saying a
Very
different
small
thing
part.
each time.
We have the new ogre. What is this ogre about?
The ogre,
These.
we made sure this was one of the creatures.
Bottom of the ordering.
The ogre is still just very much doing what an ogre needs to do, which is in many ways be a giant lump of hit points that hits you for a big lump of damage.
Perfect.
And ogres are fine that they do that. They're CR2. They're the lowest level giant you'll probably be encountering. It's fine. They don't need a big quirk.
that is, the ogre continues to do the ogre's job. Really, we viewed the ogre as in many ways your intro giant, because in most D&D campaigns, the first member of the giant creature type that you'll meet is the ogre. And so we preserved the ogre's simplicity, but then also wanted to make sure we were differentiating the other giants more from the ogre, because when we were evaluating the 2014 giant family, we felt that not only was the Cyclops too close to the hill giant, but the hill giant was too close to the ogre. And so where you're
Big guys, strong guys, not smart, hit things. It all sort of blurs together.
You're going to really see new differentiation is especially in the hill giant and in the Cyclops, because the hill giant now isn't just a bigger ogre, but is smashing you with a tree. And
that's a very thin hill giant on the right, I want to say.
Lobbing trash, I will say with air quotes, that can poison you. And we will leave it up to the DM to describe
what type of trash.
What is the hill giant?
That's kind of funny.
Throwing.
There's a lot of discussion about this in like the late days of putting this book together.
Great. Throwing ogre. I mean,
No
hill
one
giant.
said that.
No one said that.
No one
said that.
No one said
That's in line with hill giants also. I mean, they're disgusting.
Has there been changes to the forming?
Yes.
Speaking of Cyclopsian-like creatures.
Yeah, so
The Fomorian.
The Fomorian not
Fomorian.
only the mathematical tune-up that all of our giants got.
Did they include the noble ones?
Ensuring again that they are as dreaded as they should be for their CR, but we also we did some tinkering with their hexing ability, and so you're going to see that they feel even more sort of magical than they did before, because they were another one that we needed to differentiate from the ogre, the hill giant, and the Cyclops.
Which making them, adding a stat block for Fomorian nobles in Big Bees was a good choice. fully a spellcasting giant is good. Like, that's something that it's different, and it's what they used to be. Because campaigns set in the past, like, during a story, it is good to have a stat block included for, like, all the creatures that have changed drastically between those, like, 3,000-year period of the end of Astoria to most Forgotten Realms games. Having a stat block for what Fomorians used to be is very helpful. So I don't know if they included that in this. If not, Big B's. I mean, if you're running a game set back in the times of Astoria, you're probably going to be buying the 5th edition book all about the giants. So, you know.
Because they also, before, were just sort of a bruiser with a twist. And so what we did is we made sure there were a few more twists.
The
Good.
Formians were also a creature where
Formians.
narratively they've always had this story where in the past they've participated in some crime and they've been cursed by Anam, the father of the giants.
Is it Anam? Sorry, I know the lore. I've never actually looked up the pronunciation for a lot of things. Is it Anam? Who knows? Because they didn't include him in the back of the DMG. In the back of the DMG, with important characters, they included Minsk and Boo. You know, they're important. They included Bigby. They included Diane Castra. They included Diane Castra. But not Anam Allfather. They don't mention him. The, like, main god of one of the, like, big, iconic D&D monsters. The god who created all of them. One of the first gods in their creation myth. Not even mentioned in the important characters. But Boo the hamster, he gets his own thing. He's not even mentioned within Minsk's thing. He gets his own. He gets his own thing. But Diane Castra, Anam's daughter, is included. And I think they say in her, like, description, like, she's the daughter of Anam. Or Anam. But you don't, if you're, like, don't know the lore, you're like, okay, who is that? Let me go to the beginning where the A's is. Where maybe I missed that. Nope, not there. No pronunciation. No explanation. Technically, maybe the Forger of the Worlds, which might be more canon than everything else, because he has an Adzi magic item that's an artifact that can forge worlds. And there's, like, Bahamut doesn't have that. Like, the dragons have their creation myth, like, Bahamut spun around or whatever and created the worlds. There's no magic item in Fizzbands that's like, this is the thing that he used to create the worlds. But there is for Anam. So, I'm just saying, maybe I'm biased towards the giants, but I think they maybe got some game on the other creation myths, because they actually have a magic item that is canon. Sorry.
But what form that curse has taken, whether it's their current shape or whether it's other elements, we wanted to play with that and make it a little more magical and, frankly, a little grosser and a little more up to particular DMs. So you can have Fomorians that are suffering from a variety of curses.
That's
so there's
cool.
even a little table in there now of how are your Fomorians cursed with things like colorful wandering pustules or patches of wriggling hair, like unnatural things that hopefully set
bit different than what I was
down
thinking.
some particularly.
I was thinking more along the lines of less like all physical curses and more like cursed with. You know, most commonly it's like cursed with being a gross, disgusting creature that no one wants to hang out with. But maybe it's like cursed with vanity, cursed with pride, or whatever. If they're like one of the noble, I don't know. I'll just play the video for a little bit.
Paths.
Perfect, disgusting. I always enjoy ends. I always like myself a good end. Mm-hmm. So that's always a fun thing to play with. Trollin is in this.
Yes, so
I have questions.
in the 2014 Monster Manual, we had an option, the Loathsome Limb option, that was a callback to the original inspiration for the troll in D&D, which is the troll in the novel 3 Hearts and 3 Lions. And what we decided this time is to take that Loathsome Limb option and integrate it directly into the troll. And so now what that means is
Ooh, okay.
there's a chance that when you're fighting a troll, you will lop off
Well, sick
a
troll
piece of the
art.
troll. And we now
Okay.
have a complete stat block for troll pieces. It's just called troll limb, that can be used to represent various parts of the troll that are getting lopped off. And then this troll limb has the chance of then regenerating into more full-size trolls. So we've really leaned hard into the core horror of the troll, which again comes from the creature's original inspiration.
You know, man, I'm trying to think of how to farm it already, like just cutting off troll limbs, growing new trolls, troll burgers, troll steaks.
No.
It's just like the deadhead tree from Ben Richton's guy. Like, it's easy lumber.
Yes.
This is good. Like, troll hot dogs is an easy win.
I'm not sure you want to eat meat that
In my professional opinion, knowing a lot about giants, don't eat trolls. Because, you know, that whole thing that people used to, like, people would say about, like, watermelon seeds. Like, oh, don't eat a watermelon seed, it'll grow in your stomach. Watermelon will grow in your stomach. I think that would happen with a troll, maybe. Very possibly. There's nothing, hey, there's nothing that says it can't. So, if you wanna, who knows, maybe the little circle of druids that the party found in the forest, maybe they killed a troll and thought, let's eat it. Let's eat its head, maybe. There's a celebration of victory, and uh-oh, looks like the main leader who ate the brain, or whatever, is, uh-oh, he's feeling a little strange. He's churning a bit. Oh, what's that? Is that a leg that just brushed across the inside of his stomach? That's not a baby. That's a green man who's forming inside of your body, which is bad. So, and then it bursts out alien style or Slod style, Slade, evil frog style, and kills him. And no, there's a troll, and I don't know how trolls mature. I kind of like to think trolls grow very, very quickly. Like, they start off, like, they're born, and because of their regeneration, like, it kind of is, like, fast growing. Like, an hour later, they are just fully grown.
regenerates.
Yes.
They made birth.
Yes.
Okay, so they stole my bit.
that can, because as you'll see with the troll limb, that given enough time, it could turn into a full-size troll.
So they just stole
I'm
my
always
bit.
really excited, especially with D&D Beyond. It makes it so easy to look through all these different types of monsters, but my only issue is
believable.
with the giants because of the online trolls.
Oh my god. I didn't get my protective spell up in time again.
You gotta get that shield up.
I know.
Yeah, your reaction was slow.
It was too slow.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was very proud of that one.
Psychic damage again.
Yeah. I have a wife who loves me very much because I test these. I look for the worst look.
So now I know I need to
Well-
go to her to warn
What's he going to
us
say?
so we can get our abjuration up in
Yes.
time.
I feel like we're not going to get a lot of
I think that's it for the giant talk for them. But that was good. Closing thoughts on the giants. I like what I like. They didn't talk about their lore, which is a little. I was kind of hoping they'd maybe talk about the lore a bit more. Talk about, like, here's what they're gonna. Here's the deal with Anam. Maybe if they could have given, like, a actual pronunciation for Anam, Anum, Anum. Who even knows at this point? That'd be cool if they touched on the lore, which I'm sure they'll do in the monster manual. When I get my hands on the monster manual, I'll probably make another video, like, actually going through their lore, going through it and giving what I think. But from what they said, with like they're being more elemental now, that's a good sign. Seems like they're trying to differentiate the giants to be less, as in their words, big bruisers. And more so like, yes, the lower CR ones are still big bruisers. Like the ogre is still a bruiser, but the higher CR ones can maybe be more interesting encounters because they're gonna have more tricks up their sleeve. Or maybe not even encounters, like going back to what the guy in the video I watched about Cyclopes, I'm blanking on who it was. I might link it in the description because it's a good video, but how the Cyclops Oracle might be not a monster you fight, but a NPC you go to for advice. So instead of like your typical strange fortune teller or old mage, you've got this big, like 20-foot tall, towering figure that just delivers you a prophet. I don't know. It's a smart big guy. But I think that's gonna be it for this one. Hope you freaking liked it, CrazyJWolf family. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe I kind of like making this, actually. I can see why those reaction YouTubers make these all the time. Maybe next one I'll just go, what? And then wait, that giant has a club. Wait a moment. Wait, that giant's stone. Maybe that's what I'll do the next video. But I don't know. This was fun to make, so I might do more. See you in the next one. Stay primal. CrazyJWolf.